Hello and welcome once again to another episode of THRS Deep Cuts, our Thursday session. I'm Andrew.
Tim.
Hopefully everyone out there is keeping well. Got a bit to go through tonight, as always. We're going to talk about the latest from Go Ahead and Die, and what I assume is a band named Cruzh. We'll have a chat about a classic album from System of a Down. We've got a bit of a randomized sort of hot topic about some thoughts on the Black Album and also something new from community television today. I'll have the bin and all that coming up later on as well. And if you're here tonight, then get involved in the comments. You know what to do. Chat away with us. Share your memories, your thoughts. Anything and everything goes. So just get in the comments and chat away. Give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, a share. Any of those things is always fantastic. That's the best way to help us out here with what we're doing. Got some cool comments coming through, so I'll get to those in just a moment. A big thank you, of course, to our fantastic sponsors in Squidding, Scrimping, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Please find them, give them a follow. Their details, just like ours, are in the description or the post, wherever it is you're tuning into this one. The information is there. So please find them, give them a follow, and do the same thing for us on your preferred social media platform as well. Yeah, that's the preamble done. So let's get into it all. How you going, Tim? You were here on Sunday as well. So how's your week going so far?
Pretty good. Just working and chilling. Nothing much else. Not much else to do at the moment.
No, this is true.
So, yeah. Just, it got cold the last couple of days. So,
it did.
Just trying to avoid that mainly.
You're not a big fan of the cold, are you?
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of anything that just lasts more than a week. Like, I'm cool with one cold day, and then after that, it's just like it gets annoying. And then, like, I'm cool with one hot day, but then after that, it's just annoying. So, yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough then.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It was funny before when the intro was playing because Caesar's been here just lying down beside me the entire time, and then the intro starts. He's like, I'm going to get up and start bouncing around right at that perfect moment. So it's like he's been calm and chilled and doing everything. Now he's like, okay, I want your attention. It's like, dude, the fuck? But anyway, so I've got a Great Dane pressing against my lap trying to get my attention. But besides that, everything's good. Having a good week so far, just busy with work and doing everything else we do here behind the scenes. Prepping a few things that are coming up and that sort of stuff. Just, getting through it all bit by bit. The usual grind. Nothing really special to talk about this week. It's just another week at the end of the day. But everyone's good. We're all happy, healthy, and well, and taking care of what we need to take care of. So everything's good. I know everyone's still in lockdown, and it's funny watching, or not funny, but, there is a funny side to watching the lockdown sort of spread further across the country at the moment with the ACT entering theirs today. But whatever, thoughts, consolidate.
It is funny watching, like, people who've been in lockdown for a month complain that they're in lockdown.
I know. We did 6 months of this shit already, so, yeah. It's a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah. And it's barely a lockdown anyway, so.
Yeah. But anyway, on a serious note, I know that it's fun to rib each other and stuff, but yeah, for anyone that's struggling at the moment, then look after yourself. It's not an easy thing in general. Some of it, certain people are built for it, some people aren't. So however you're feeling is however you feel. Hopefully we'll bring you some entertainment and you just get to tune out for a bit while we chat for a little bit of time. All right. So cool. What do we got here? So Nudes has jumped in to say, hi, gents. So good to have you here, Nudes. That's awesome to have you join us. I think he's changed the profile picture to be us while he's chatting, by the way. The actual logo of the show. I think he's screen grabbed it and put it up as profile picture. That's very nice. Very, very kind of you there. Dean's jumped in to say, hey, guys, happy Thursday. Hope all is well. And by the way, Nudes,
you too.
Back to you. Yeah, same. Likewise for you, Dean. Just quickly, Nudes, I did listen to that Hasselhoff track you put into the lounge earlier today. Oh, my God. Did you check that out, Tim, or not?
I've heard Hasselhoff before.
Yeah. I think we've reviewed it.
Yeah.
Is this a case
it's of the David Hasselhoff singing?
Well, that's true.
No, at least he's not dancing on the Berlin Wall this time.
That's very true. That was an interesting one last time around. Sally's joined us. So, hey, Sally, good to see you here with us again. And as we're doing the preamble and intro stuff, Benjamin jumped in to say, I am Benjamin. So it's good to have a regular troublemaker here with us on Facebook. So cheers for tuning in. Helen has jumped in again. Good to see you here again. Consistency is the key. And yes, it definitely is. We are nothing if not that, especially being late. We don't broadcast on time, but we are who we are. We do what we do. It's all
consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Benjamin's also said, I have the flu. It's been a long bullshit week here in New Zealand. Man, that sucks. Getting the flu in the middle of a pandemic like this is just not going to be fun.
Yep.
So hopefully you're feeling better soon with that one. Sal has gone, show us the big doggo. I would, but he's now lying down again, so it's all right. So I'll leave him be. Otherwise, I'll stir him up again and it'll be pandemonium because he can quite comfortably knock anything and everything over in this room.
He's almost as big as the room, if you've never seen him before.
He is almost as big as the room. He's taller than I am. Fucking massive unit. Best Indigenous Clifford. I don't know. I haven't seen you here before, so thanks for joining us. Great guys, just listening. Hey, cool. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Some new ones here as well. So if you're new, jump in. Helen's gone, the key to lockdown is being comfortable doing small stuff and lippy. Well, I'm not sure about the lippy personally for me, but small stuff, yeah, we can definitely do the small stuff. That's.
I got too many lip rings to do lippy. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Fun fact.
But you're right. The key to lockdown is sort of being adaptable and being able to move your schedule around and being comfortable doing that. If you're the type of person, the type of people who have tended to struggle are the people who lack their routine and consistency. And I do feel for those people. But yeah, it's the only way around it. We've got to be adaptable.
Yep. It's the common theme, like what you're saying there, is exactly right between Jody and myself. Jody thrives in order, whereas I thrive in chaos. And the way we've handled it is entirely different. So unfortunately, it hits everyone differently, but hopefully everyone out there can do what they need to do to make themselves feel a bit better. Right after midnight, hey lads, good to have you here again. More of our regulars.
Yeah, it sucks about next Thursday.
It does,
man. We were supposed to play together next week, but not going to be able to do that. We'll be doing that again soon, though, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes. Hopefully we can just fucking get through it and we can get to some sort of normality in this one sooner rather than later. But I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Crimson Fyre over on YouTube. Evening, guys. Lockdown 6.0 here in Melbourne. Just like the rest, crank the tunes and flow with the go. Yes, that's whatever it is. If it's reading, if it's music, if it's TV, if it's Netflix, if it's fucking Pornhub, I don't care. Whatever it is that makes you have a good time while you're locked down, then do whatever it takes. But thank you for joining us tonight. And Lee MacDonald, currently in quarantine after visiting Tier 1 site last week, making lockdown. Man, that sucks.
Yeah, well, hopefully you turn out all right and give a negative test. Man, hopefully we can give you some entertainment.
Yeah, definitely thoughts with you because that's extra stressful. So all the best for that one. That's damn, that sucks. There we go. Sally also been watching for years. I knew Fred. I know it says it looks like he's part of the show. Yes, all the dogs are part of the show. Fred is behind me on the wall there. A big caricature there from Tabitha, a good friend of ours at the show here. We do miss that dog, but we have the other ones here with us, and Caesar is more than crazy enough to make up for all the other stuff anyway. So there we go. All right, Sumaleth over on YouTube has jumped in as well, so good to see you here. Lockdown as well, everyone's locked down. And Colin Spate has gone. Benjamin, what's up, brother? So here we go. We've got some people jumping in. Good to get some new faces. Good to see some regulars. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you keep getting involved in the comments and liking, sharing, subscribing, all the usual shit that everyone gets you to do. But yeah, get involved. Even if you just leave a thought at any point in tonight's broadcast, that's what helps us get the word out there, if nothing else. All right, let's have some fun. Let's get into what we were going to talk about at the top of the show. And that is that, in case you didn't know, I think Metallica put a post a couple of hours ago saying, this time 30 years ago, the Black Album was released. So, Tim, you wanted to have a quick little chat about that. What are your thoughts? When did you first hear it? And, what do you think it's held up like for you over the years?
I think there's a lot of people feeling very old right now, seeing that post.
Yeah, I know. When you say 30 years ago, it's like, what?
No, but look, I mean, it still sounds incredible. It's an incredible rock album. And it is, Metallica are the biggest heavy band in the world of all time.
Yep.
And it's largely because of that record. And it's a, and I think there's better Metallica albums out there. But, I mean, as far as, making Metallica the commercial success that they are and turning them really into the giant, money-making mega corporation band that they are these days. That doesn't exist without the Black Album. And I mean, look, full credit to them. It takes a lot to survive in an industry like the music industry, and an album like that should be remembered.
Yeah, definitely. Sally jumped in to say yes, she posted it. So yeah, she was the one that put that video up in the lounge. So thanks for sharing that in the lounge. If you're wondering what we're talking about, we have a Facebook group called the THRS Lounge. It's in the links as well. So go and check out. Have fun with that. Join in the chat there. All right. So for me, when it came out, it was a fucking monster. Like everyone was talking about it, and I wasn't really into it at the time. I came to love it later on. The thing for me about that album is that once I started to get more and more into things like production and that as well down the line, once I heard it and got into it, I really enjoyed it. But then once I dug deep into it, into the production side, especially watching things like the 1.5 documentary, the 2-part documentary they did around that album and the tour following it, I used to watch that thing religiously. I loved the first part when they're in the studio and just doing little bits and pieces of it. I'm a bit of a geek like that, but the just watching that play out and just how it's become a reference album for me now. So when you're doing audio on that, when you have a reference album, it's what you put on to test, because you know what an album sounds like. You know it so well, you know what it sounds like, and so when you're testing out a new system, you want to make the frequencies match what you know. That's an album you put on to sort of make it sound the way it's supposed to sound. So that album has been a reference album for me, and many others like Chris DeMelco at Monolith Studios. Well, I know it's one for him too. That it's just, and it's held up so well. The sounds, the songs, I reckon it's fantastic. I did do a deep dive analysis on it as part of my studies, actually going back, and then we reviewed it as part of our Metallica versus Megadeth special on that as well. I think in hindsight, it might drag on like 1 or 2 songs too long in the end, but overall, it's still pretty much the almost perfectly crafted record, and it's easy to see why it's the success that it is. I understand why a lot of people don't like it. I understand why people love it. It's one of those ones where you can see both sides of the coin, but for me personally, I love it. All these years on, I really do enjoy it today. I don't put it on as often as I would like to, but it's one of those ones that whenever I do put it on, it's just a feel-good run from start to finish, much like the one we're going to do later on tonight with System of a Down. But yeah, did you have any? What are your favorite tracks on it? Just as a random aside, there. What are some of your favorite tracks?
Through the Never is my favorite track on there.
Okay, cool.
Because it's got that banging chorus.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody goes to tracks like Sad But True and all that, but for me, like Sad But True is probably like 1 verse too long.
Yeah. Yeah, I can play that.
I mean, Sandman's a great track and all that, but Through the Never's my personal favorite on there.
Mine always change. Whenever I listen to this album, it's one of those ones where the songs are all individually good, so I'll gravitate to different ones whenever I'm listening to it. Sad But True, I just love the riff. Yeah. Like I was saying before, I always check out the when I was watching the 1.5 documentary, just like James was playing that riff through the fucking speaker that he blew up, and he's just got this laugh going when he's doing it. I just see that in my head every single time. Things like Don't Try to Me are cool. I do like Through the Never, but also like someone mentioned here earlier on of Wolf of Man, but also The God That Failed and My Friend of Misery, some deep cuts at the end. They're really cool. Same with The Struggle Within. So when you listen to each song individually, they're all fucking fantastic. And just going through the stream count here, and certain songs have got nearly 750 million plays. So 706 million on Into Sandman. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's insane. And you know, the lowest song on here. What's the lowest song on the album currently counting streams? The Struggle Within actually has 17 million streams. So that's the weakest one. So if that's your weakest track on an album, that's kind of that's still pretty.
Yeah, it's a good album.
Yeah. So that, I don't know. I just love how that turned out. What do we got here? Jesus. Okay, we've got some good comments coming through. Nice. All right. So Crimson Fyre has jumped in and said they should have stopped at Black, in my opinion. Up until then, they were amazing. Black was awesome too. A lot of people say that, but I did like Hardwired, and also liked Death Magnetic as well for me personally. I didn't like the production on Death Magnetic, but I thought the songs were great.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Sumalith, I should get around to listening to the Black Album someday. Well, today is as good a day as any. It's turning 30 years old today. So, yeah, maybe that's a thing to do there. Okay. Helen's gone, hey, ask where I was 40 years ago hosting Kiss, Grace Jones, and Inflation. Fucking hell. You have the stories every single week, don't you? Insignificant Forms. Okay, new one on YouTube. Thank you for jumping in. I like a quote that said, those who like metal were disappointed and the rest of the world realized what they had been missing. That is actually a really good way to sum that up. I don't know. What do you think of that one, Tim?
Yeah, look, I can understand the guy who's expecting Master of Puppets, hearing, nothing else matters and going,
Yeah.
But that's true. It's true though, because so many of the bigger metal bands that have commercial success usually get it with like a ballad,
Mm-hmm.
and then like they spend the rest of their career trying to recreate that success, and they just end up ruining their albums by throwing ballads on there and just seeing what sticks.
Yeah. Yep.
Whereas I suppose you could argue Metallica didn't really do that, but they also kind of did. But
yeah. To a point.
The Load album's got some. The Load albums have some single bait there.
Yeah, they do definitely. But then they gravitated away from it afterward anyway. So
Yeah. Well, there is no single bait on the Saint Anger.
No, there's definitely not on that one. If only Dave were here to talk about that snare sound. The funny thing for mine is that when I was going through the stream counts before, that Nothing Else Matters is actually behind Enter Sandman. So out of that one, that still, the Enter Sandman is the one that everyone knows, and that's the one that gets played. But that said, Nothing Else Matters had such cut through. It was just, that was one that anyone and everyone could listen to, which is why, people, I understand why they don't like it, but then again, you get people like this. So Dean said, best album they ever did, in my opinion. First album I ever heard from them when I was a kid, and I thought it was one of the greatest sounds ever, and been a fan ever since. So it does sound fantastic. Yeah. It was awesomely produced. What else we got here? So Benjamin said he just joined the THRS Lounge, so thank you for jumping in there. Crimson said the lesser popular song like Wolf of Man, Bloody Killer. Yeah, that is a great one. I do love that one for sure. Brendan Van Droomel has jumped in. Thank you for joining us tonight. I was 17 and in year 12 we would jam to it in the music room during lunch. Now that would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yes. What else have we got here? David James says a bit of a tug war between Darren and Serge. Yeah, that is a bit of a thing in other contexts.
We'll be getting into that.
We will. What else we got? Dean also said Bob Rock was the perfect choice. I watched a year and a half with Metallica and was incredible how they made that album and the process. Loved the whole process. Love all the tracks. All killer, no filler for me. Yes, very, very cool indeed. Jeez, where are we going? David James said, love you fuckers. So, yes, thank you for joining us tonight. We have a lot of one out there as well. Here we go. Another one, too, from Insignificant Forms. No matter which side you are on, there is no denying the impact. And I think that is the legacy of this album. It is an absolute killer. This killed everything in sight. What else we got here? Okay. Dean's asked a question. What do we think of the other artists covering the whole Black album? I personally like it. So have you got any thoughts on that so far, Tim?
On the other artists, what do you mean by that?
There's an anniversary edition of this album being released soon where other artists like Miley, I don't know, I think Miley Cyrus might be one, but there's a few of them out there that are covering different people from different genres covering a lot of these songs and that. Apparently there's a new version. I mean,
it's, there's a lot of bands that cover Metallica in their set.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I've seen Art vs. Science do it to Sandman. So, like, if there's an album to do it with, it's that one. I mean, they're a very influential band with, and as we said, not everybody who listens to metal listens to Metallica.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's the album that makes the most sense to do it with. You couldn't imagine being done, for example, for Injustice for All or for Load or Reload. So I think this is the perfect album to do it too. And having a bunch of artists come in and put their spin on these songs is a good way to celebrate the 30th anniversary for mine. I haven't really checked out any of the songs yet. I wanted to sort of save myself for when the actual whole thing drops. I think it's in September, So yeah, I'm sort of waiting for that more than anything else. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. I don't mind it when other artists do tributes to these things. Have been around for ages. Like there were all these industrial tributes to different albums over the years as well. I think the Black Album did get an industrial treatment 10, 20 years ago, something like that as well. So that's something in that as well. From memory, that's a very vague memory going through the old Sanity CD shop there, but there's a few things out there like that anyway. So it wouldn't be the first one to get a treatment like this anyway. It's a good idea. Colin Spade, thank you for joining us. He said the first three Metallica albums, some of the best metal you'll ever hear, in my opinion. Definitely, a lot of people will agree with that one for sure. What else we got here? Tim Cadison, our good friend Tim, has jumped in. Hi guys, 16-year-old me flogged this album to death. The tour for the album at Rod Laver was amazing. Yeah, I didn't go and see them, but I've heard nothing but fantastic things about that one for sure. Where have we got? Okay. All right, so people are chatting amongst themselves, which is cool. Matt Manley has gone, you rock from Yarrawonga. Awesome to see someone from up there joining us tonight, because my wife Jody, if those that watch the Gig Guide and that way we can do the Gig Guide, she's actually from Mulwala. So there you go. It's a small world after all. Okay. Oh, yeah, Sally jumped in with this one. When Metallica got inducted to the Hall of Fame, I think it was, Avril Lavigne did Fuel. Did you ever see that
Was
video,
that the
Tim?
one where Snoop Dogg did Sad But True?
Yes, same show. That was fucking bizarre, that one. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot there, but it's been covered to death over the years. I don't mind the idea of doing this covers album. I think it's a good thing and a good time to celebrate this one the way it is as well. So keep them coming. Keep us your thoughts, your memories, your favorite tracks, all that sort of stuff. Keep the comments coming. Let's get the conversation, or keep it going. Well, I'm going to quickly get into this one myself and put a link in the comments with this one for something else. So we're going to just tack on at the end here. So if you can't find the link, because it's only in the comments, I haven't put this one in the description this time around, but it's www.ctvplus.org.au. So www.ctvplus as a word, so ctvplus.org.au. This is a new platform being launched by Channel 31 and Channel 44 today. This is where you can now stream both Channel 31 and 44 as it is broadcasting on television. So it's basically a simulcast. So, for example, tonight on Channel 44 in Adelaide, 10:30 p.m. their time, we'll be having our episode this week, which is part 2 of our Metal Church special. If you can't get the channel on your TV screen, you can follow that website and you can tune in when it's going to air as well. There are some shows that are going to be moving to the on-demand platform as well. We're not there yet. We're not one of the highest priorities in that regard, because we're a little more niche than the other ones that are on the networks are. And that's all good, because I need to make this one as sort of viable and profitable as possible, and it all costs a bit of money to do it. So if you want to check out the other shows that community television puts together, there's a whole lot there. A lot of it's on demand service now, and if not, then just check out the streaming timelines. That's a new project being launched today by Channel 31, Channel 44, and there's also apps for iOS and Android coming in the near future. I think for early 2022, I think is when it's slated for release. I'm not entirely certain of that off the top of my head, but there we go. So David, I'm pretty sure we're regularly on there, but if you can't get it on your TV screen, you can get it on the streaming service with the app. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, now that it's on a streaming service again, hit the website and check it out and tune in whenever you want. Benjamin's gone, it's a bitch to spell it. Yeah, it's it's one of those things. What else we got here? So Dean's jumped in to say, since on the hot topic of Metallica, would you do a Metallica theme if you haven't already? A lot of great albums. We have done Metallica versus Megadeth special, but we haven't done a pure Metallica special. So that might be something to revisit down the line too. There's enough there to do spin-off content too as well.
There's a lot there, but it's also a lot that we've covered before as well.
Yeah, that's where maybe in a few more years from now, not something we'd be doing anytime soon kind of thing. We've got a lot of other stuff we haven't even done at all yet. So I'm trying to move away from the ones we have done in some way, shape or form to ones we haven't done before.
Yeah, there will be us talking. There's videos of us talking about Metallica. There's a few of them around.
Yeah. If not, then once I get a chance to, I will release that content there anyway, even if it's just stuff behind the scenes. There's a whole lot of shit of us talking about it behind the scenes anyway. So, it's not going to go away anytime soon. All right, so yeah, please tune in to community television either on your TV screens or via the website. The new website just launched today, and yeah, give us your thoughts on Metallica Black Album, and also Dean's going. Oh yes, I remember the Metallica versus Megadeth episode. Yes, it's there. It's out there for everyone to go and check out as well. All right, let's get into our.
It's Rust in Peace versus everything else. Sorry, what?
What was that?
It was Rust in Peace versus everything else.
It pretty much was. All right, let's get into our first review of the night. The first review of the night comes from a band. I'm assuming it's pronounced Cruzh, even though the spelling is a bit odd. I'm not entirely certain of that, but that's what I'm going to run with as a theory. So the reference track is from Cruzh, which is actually Cruzh. That's how it's spelt. I'm assuming it's Cruzh because of song titles and limericks and stuff. So Cruzh, and the song is New York Nights, which is a lyric video about a couple of days old now as we do this one tonight. So that is your reference track. Check that out if you want to, or you can do so now or after we've done our review. But this is our first review of the night, which is Cruzh with Tropical Thunder, 11 tracks for 47 minutes, the second album from the Swedish band, released August 2021 via Frontiers Records. Produced by Eric Viss, who also performed keys and piano on this album. 3 singles have been released, including We Go Together and Turn Back Time. This is the band's first with new vocalist Alex Waghorn, who was first introduced in 2019. And this is another album that has been delayed because, of course, COVID is a thing. But we have it now, and we figured we'd give this one a go after a few positive comments in the lounge. So, Tim, how did you go?
Look, this one is going to depend on taste. 200%.
Yep.
Because this is total... how do we put it? 80s montage music.
Yeah, I was waiting.
There's a lot of synth. Yeah. I'm fairly sure there's electric. It's a drum machine.
Okay.
If they used real drums on this, they wasted their time because they processed them so much they just sound like electric drums. Actually, the drum sound on Turn Back Time by Cher sounds more like drums than this one.
It's funny you just said that because Insignificant Forms has gone Turn Back Time. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. Do you believe in hard rock after the 80s?
Oh, God. Rightio.
But look, it's going to depend on you, sir, because this is very cheesy. It's very they're not so much cheesy in the lyrics, like it's not Dungeons and Dragons and all that. No. It is cheesy in the sense that it's again, it's 80s montage. It's boppy, synth heavy, fizzy guitar tones, with a very processed like just the thing. It's not even a Phil Collinsy processed drum sound. It's even more reverby than that.
Yeah,
it's like a Spandau Ballet drum sound.
That's okay. I'll pay that.
It is right.
I'll pay
but that's the thing. If you're into that, if you're the kind of guy that wants to like, this is gonna sound like I'm insulting them, but I'm not. But I mean, if you like the background music to the A-Team, then
the A-Team,
then you're probably into it. Like this is
Knight Rider.
Again, I sound like I'm insulting them, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for me, but if you like that over-the-top, cheesy, 80 poppy, softer metal, then you're probably going to like this.
Yeah.
I thought the tracks blurred into each other, but for me, again, this style I can't tell the difference between songs. They just sound the same to me.
All right.
Again, it just sounds like Rocky running up the stairs in Pennsylvania, but and Hulk Hogan training Mean Gene Okerlund for his wrestling match, but
shit. Yeah, I haven't thought about
steroids and muscles, baby. This is what this is all about.
Yep.
But yeah, look, again, if you want that old school 80s, pop sound, this is it. I'll give it a 6 because, again, it's not bad for what it is. It's executed very well. And if you like this sort of stuff, you're probably going to really enjoy it. It's just I'm the wrong person to review this album, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I do not have a I don't have a standout because, as I said, it's all sounded the same.
Yeah, fair enough.
But but on the plus side, it meant nothing really stuck.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought the opening track on this one was pretty busy. Remind me a little bit of what you get out of. It's going to sound really opposite to what you've just said, but I got a bit of a Steel Panther vibe and feel out of it with the opening track. Because
that's not the opposite of what I just said.
No, true. I guess the attitude is different, but yeah, it's all very, very busy, very sparkly, very, very bright production, which has a great vibe to it if you enjoy those things from the era. It's got the infectious hooks, punchy riffs and rhythms that you expect from this sort of music. It's got some good melody. I really like the lead guitar work on this one as well. It's got everything you want and expect from this style of music. If you're thinking, your melodic rock, it's a bit heavier, this one, than a lot of it. Bit more flash to this one, especially in the lead work. So that, in turn, gives a little bit more attitude, a touch more bite than a lot of the other ones are. This isn't, like, the lyrics aren't overly anything new, but this is a little more attitude-driven than a lot of other ones from the same wheelhouse we do cover. But it does have some big-time 80s moments on this one. Things like certain drum tones, which you've already referenced there, but also the panning. It fits the vibe nicely. If you are into this music, those little details are going to make you very happy very quickly. When they go softer, the synth really steps up and goes right into overdrive on this one. So, this has everything that you expect and want out of melodic rock. I thought, when they change things up a bit more than others do, that's when they got my attention the most. So things like Are You Ready? That got a bit of a different groove going there, and there's a bit of a Def Leppard kind of a vocal on that one as well. So all these little hints we're dropping should give you a pretty good indication of what you're in for if you check it out. You got a typical ballad in the middle of the album. I think performances are good across this one as well. And the same with the production. Everything's really well done. In terms of execution, this is really well put together. I think it's nostalgic without being cringeworthy. The tones are good. The mix is solid. The performances, like I was saying, are pretty bloody good as well. Here we go. We've got some comments come through. I'll get to those in a second. But it's a very wet mix overall. So everything is pretty reverb heavy, except for the vocals, which was a bit of a less reverb applied to those to make them a bit dry, so they cut through a bit more clearly. Like I was saying, the lyrics, nothing new there per se. It's all pretty generic in the style, but I think that the hooks and harmonies sort of carried a bit more as well. When I did this review, New York Nights had just been dropped, and I thought that was pretty fitting to drop this one as a little promotional track because the lyrics and the story in that do really conjure a visual in your mind. So the storytelling side of that song was pretty well done. But all in all, while this is well executed, has a bit more bite. At the same time, it's one of those albums that make fans of the genre really happy. But at the same time, if you're not, this won't do anything at all to change your mind. So you got a context here with Tim is not really into this sort of music, generally speaking, and so he's not going to really rate it. And if you're the same as him, this is not going to do anything for you. If you're a bit more like me, because, when we talk about things like the Night Flight Orchestra, I quite enjoy that band where everyone else on the current panel hates it. So, I don't mind those things. And so for me, it's a bit of a more entertaining release. But it is one that does get a bit stale after a couple of listens. You give it a few spins, and you put it away for a while. It's one of those sorts of ones. Anyway, I did enjoy it. I think closing with the acoustic track on the album was a nice touch. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I picked Are You Ready, We Go Together, and Moonshine by You because they were the three most different sort of diverse tracks on this ones. Those were the ones that got my attention on this one. I did reference, we got some comments, so let's go back through these ones. Insignificant Form was followed up their previous comment by saying, "Turn Back Time clearly share cuts through all genres." That's kind of true. Lee MacDonald said, "Typical Frontiers release," and that's also very true when it comes to Frontiers. Crimson said, "When I next find myself in an 80s montage, I now have a soundtrack, so cheers for that." So that's fixed for you. Sally's gone, "It's fluffy, sparkle stuff. Makes you want to listen to Avril doing Fuel. It hurts me." So that's
Sally, look up Celine Dion singing AC/DC.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. It's fantastic.
I know what you mean. Oh, yeah, that's not... Oh, okay. Less said, the better. Helen said, "Come on, fellas, it's 80s crap, thinner than a one-slice
agreed.
pizza. It's formula is so underwhelming and hoping that a lot of hair will suffice. You want hair? I got lots. I struggle to find anything other than mediocre, which equates to average. Cut it loose, fellas." Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So there's some feedback there. What else we got here? Tim Caterson said, if you want to hear this style of music done well, go and listen to bands like Crazy Licks. I will agree with that statement there. That's very true there. And Helen agrees with you, Tim. Tim finds this shit. Vote 1 Tim. So there you go. All right. We have a question. All right, question. Do you think that Dave Ellefson's recent activity online will forever tarnish and destroy the legacy of Megadeth? Or is it actually expected from rock stars these days, and such behavior, as witnessed by bands Led Zeppelin, actually set the stage for guys like Dave Ellefson to misbehave? We kind of expect these guys to be wild, but when we see them being wild and all point and click and drag their ass back naked backwards through a goose bush.
A band like Led Zeppelin benefit from a few things. Firstly, they're not around, and they're not active at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly,
different era.
They were active at a time where you're not in the public eye 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, in order to do something stupid, you went through a publicist first, and it went through, editors and filters before it hit the newspaper. Yeah. Whereas, now you can do whatever you want and say whatever you want and film whatever you want and send it out in tweet form. And, let's face it, all of us, we don't have to be famous to do something stupid online. Granted, not all of us do what Dave Ellefson did.
No, this is very true.
And will it forever tarnish it? Look, I don't know if it'll forever tarnish it, but it certainly has tarnished it in the short term. I mean, he's out of the band, he's had his tracks deleted, and I'm sure Dave Staine's not keen to talk about him.
I don't think it tarnishes the band. I think everyone's able to separate.
It doesn't tarnish the band, but it does. But as far as what Dave Ellefson contributed to that band, absolutely it does.
Yeah, it changes the
conversation.
Well, I mean,
I don't know whether it will, 20 years from now, but in the short term, it has.
I think it's different. Like I was saying before, it's an entirely different era to things like Zeppelin and the other ones as well, because the impact of these things stays around a lot longer as well. Because we all know, if you read into things like Led Zeppelin, they weren't saints either. They got away with things because the press cycle was so much longer, kind of thing. It took a lot longer for things to get out there and a lot longer for things to go off. Whereas now it's instant. And also in the context of things, we're all a little bit more eager to be judgmental because we all have our own platform on social media these days. Everyone wants to have their hot take, their 3 minutes of fame, and everyone's pursuing the same thing at the same time. And so these things become so clickbait driven that it's not funny, which is just intentionally riling people up as well. So different eras, you can't really compare them, but at the same time, I don't think this tarnishes the band. I think it'll tarnish his legacy. And I think that when people talk about this band 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now,
Megadeth will be fine. They've already got the new bass player.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Megadeth at all. But I do think that if you do a special on Megadeth X amount of years from now, you're going to be, I think we're in a position now where we are finding our feet in the media world and how you balance the person was a bit of a shit unit, but the music was really good. And so you talk about both things in the same context. I don't think you're going to have a conversation about his input to that band without mentioning that aspect in the future.
But we also talk about rock stars back in the day, doing wild things. But rock stars erase their memories all the time as well. I mean, Eric Clapton has 2 versions of Layla, right?
Yes.
One of them was co-written by a undiagnosed schizophrenic who murdered his mom.
Yep.
And the other one is the one that he plays.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, the original version of Layla is a much better song, but I'm sure Eric Clapton doesn't want to be associated with that.
Yeah.
So it's been happening for a long time, and it's going to continue to happen, for better or worse.
I think that the more open we get in the whole conversational tone of these things, the more it'll change things overall. When we start to equate, we've had conversations before about separating art and artistry and all that sort of stuff, and all those things are finding their balance in this new age of media and that in the moment. And I think that as time goes on, we'll find that balance later on. Maybe not quite now because the outrage is still always fresh, and the outrage cancel culture thing always kicks into gear as well. But we'll settle down in a few years and it'll be a bit more nuanced as we go through. It'll be okay to talk about things because there's plenty of good music out there that's been written and performed by some pretty ordinary people, and people still talk about it to this day. So I think that balance will be struck in the future. A bit more neatly than it is currently. Jeez. Okay. You have to ask. Sorry, Helen's gone. Who is the arbiter and/or referee of an era that you've not lived? Well, yeah, that's a different question as well.
Yeah, that's
entirely. If you weren't there, you can't say anything about it. And Benjamin said, I remember when Led Zeppelin filmed that thing with the fishing and groupies. Now I have to feel sorry for Dave because they used to get away with far worse. This is true, but at the same time, now it's out there for everyone to see all the time, which makes it.
A lot of it has to do with the fact that Zeppelin aren't relevant or aren't active.
They stopped doing anything new.
Like, I mean, R. Kelly got away with a lot of things until he tried to make a comeback.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep. Who was the other one too in that world that beat up Rihanna or someone? What's it? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. But anyway, well, there's a lot there to unpack, and that's a conversation that will be ongoing for quite some time. We haven't found the balance yet. We will eventually get there. It's just that it's going to be one of those things that's organically going to take a bit of time, I think. I don't know. Any final thoughts on that there, Tim, or is that?
No, that's a long conversation.
It is very much so. It is a very long conversation. We'll try not to drag on too much for tonight with that one. We'll move on. But Frozen Tears has gone and jumped in. Hi, guys. Great show. Thank you for joining us. Dave sent through a message. I know you've got an EP coming very, very soon. Looking forward to checking that out. So please do keep us in the loop with that one there as well. All right. On to the next review. So your reference track is this one, which is... Jesus. Okay, so hang on. Quickly. Helen's gone, hey, you speak of getting away with stuff. Not so. Well, no one gets away with anything anymore. Not even us. But the next track to reference here tonight is Go Ahead and Die with G.A.A.D, which is also Go Ahead and Die, which is kind of a good counterpoint to everything we're talking about at the moment. Anyway, so in case you missed it, we're going to talk about that album, but the reference track is in the comments now, and it's also in the description or the post for this one as well. So go and check it out whenever you're ready, and give us your thoughts on this as we go along. So this is Go Ahead and Die with a self-titled album, 11 tracks, 44 minutes. The debut album from the project made up of Max Cavalera with his son Igor. They've been joined by Zach Coleman on drums, I think. Released June 2021 by Nuclear Blast, produced by Max and Igor themselves, engineered by Charles Elliott and John Acalano at Platinum Underground Studios, mixed by Arthur Rizek. At least 3 singles have been released, including Toxic, Freedom, and Truckload Full of Bodies. As this is a quieter week this week in terms of releases, we figured we'd find this one from earlier this year that we missed and wanted to give it a bit of time. And so we've gone back to a few months ago to check this one out. And this is a complete gear change from the last review. Tim, how'd you go with this one? It's more your wheelhouse.
Oh, I had not heard this album, and I was very glad to hear this album. One of the reasons why I had not heard this album is I kind of don't really pay much attention to the Cavalera brothers. Because as legendary as they are, Max Cavalera, with the exception of Kill or Be Killed, Max Cavalera has just re-released Roots every year for the past 25 years. With the exception of this album now too. This album's fucking awesome.
Okay.
Cool. But seriously, I mean, look, Soulfly have some great songs, and again, Roots is a legendary album. But I think he's I've been critical of that. But this is a much more Max Cavalera does Bad Brains kind of vibe. He's very much an old hardcore punk style of album, very abrasive, very basic, but very basic. This is very unpretentious, 4 power chords, blast beats, and D beats, hard rock. Very angry record. He's got a lot to say. Much more to say than what he says in Soulfly, that's for sure.
I don't know. Not all the Soulfly songs are that same, man. Check out the debut album. There's a bit to say in that one, at least.
Oh, there's a bit to say in that one, but I mean, compared to this one, granted.
Compared to this one, yeah.
This is going back to Refuse Resist days.
Yeah.
He's a very angry man on this album, and I like when Max is angry. I think he's says some things that I like.
Yeah.
And this is a great album. Like if you like angry music, and if you like if you're somebody who's if you're a punk fan, if you're somebody who likes unpretentious music, if you're okay with, again, just basic chords and basic riffs played really loud through really loud amplifiers and screaming at the top of your heads and just letting that anger roll over you, then this is a great album for you. This is a fucking fantastic listen. This is the best album that Max Cavalera has put out in a long, long time.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a really fantastic listen. A 9 out of 10 for me.
Wow, cool.
And Ice Cage and Go Ahead and Die are my two highlights. And this is an album that needed to be released.
Okay.
Needs to be heard.
Yeah. This one is very contemporary to the last 24 months kind of a thing. There's a lot of references in this it's not tying it down, but you can also see how it is from the time that it's come from at the moment as well. It's very direct, very angry, very in your face, not pulling any punches at all on this one. And one of the cool things about it is that the lead vocals are shared between Max and his son, which is a nice touch on this one. And they do work well together musically on this one too. I thought the aggression was nicely balanced out by the use of groove on this. There were some nice switches there. And as has been covered up, there is so much going on in the lyrics. That's the part that really stands out. The mix helped it to stand out as well because they sort of lo-fied a lot of the stuff, but they did it intentionally to give it a lot of bottom end because the vocals can then cut through just nicely because of the harsh tone.
No, this is lo-fi done right. This is,
exactly.
This is like, how do we put it? This is like, this is like when you listen to those, 80s punk albums and those early 80s metal albums where it's not perfect, but that aids in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It gives it that smoky room, 1 a.m. at the Tote vibe.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's got that. It is very much an old school approach, and it's very simplistic. That it's more about the energy than about. This gives you the idea that they could write and release songs a lot faster than a lot of other bands will because they're not, producing the absolute bejesus out of it. They're just getting in the room, playing the songs, knocking it out, and just move on, kind of thing. That's the impression, which is a good thing because it's done really, really well to make that process work out. So that's actually, I think it's a really, really good thing that they've done there. Sorry, Caesar's actually going to chew on an active power cord in a second. So, hey, no. He's just looking at me. There's an active power cord, and it's like he's just got to put it in his mouth, and it's like, don't do that.
I said it before, the dog is so big, if you choose straight through it, it'll react like it's a bee sting.
Yeah, pretty much. So apologies, I'm going to keep an eye on him while he does things like that. But I liked how that was such a straightforward kind of thing, and it gives, like I said, that it means that you feel like they'll do a lot more, a lot faster than other projects do. What do we got here? We got there's not a lot of tricks in this one. It's all pretty direct, pretty straight ahead. They did plug in some nice moments of things like there's that little news report moment in one of the songs there as well, Punisher. There's little bits and pieces, little touches of things here and there, but nothing insane. But it's all very, very well done. What was that? I thought you said something then. I don't know if you said something. Or
No. Just leaning back.
Okay, cool. Sorry. But for me, it's an angry record. It's one for the times. It's actually a pretty good lockdown kind of a record too. If you're angry and you want to vent, this is one of those ones to do it to. I think that where it fell down a little bit for me was because, like, I get what you're saying about how it's just punchy, it's direct, and it's going. For me, it got a little bit samey. And by the time the last track, which is actually really cool, Roadkill, the track there was cool because it was the longest song on the album as well, and it was a bit of a different one. But sort of by that time, after a couple of listens, I'm kind of tuning out a little bit. But this is all, again, this is more into your preference of things than mine overall. So you'll probably pick up on the subtleties more than I will. But at the same time,
it's the same as the last album. A lot of it comes down to taste.
Yeah, and I found this one
is not going to be one of those universally loved albums.
No,
like Dave would hate this.
Yeah, probably.
But Whereas I think like Brendan would love this.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. I think that for me though, what makes it sort of jump out at you though is the lyrical content. The lyrical content in this one is really, I loved it. That part really stood out for me. So, it's balanced out by, the songs themselves were good, but didn't do a lot of diversity overall. They had some groove shifts in that, but the diversity wasn't really there. It was a pretty just going through the motions kind of an album in that regard. But the lyrics, that really stood out for me. So it's an interesting one, and I'm not sure if the score I've given it now is the score I'll settle on down the line, but it is what I gave when I sit down with my notes. So I don't know. I did enjoy it. It's just not one of those ones that's going to really stay with me for the end of the year. I gave it 7.5 out of 10. Prophet's Prey, Roadkill, and Toxic Freedom were my standouts on this one, though. And like I said, there were some pretty cool ones in there too. And like I said, Roadkill, yeah, that was a good little closer on this one as well. But also liked In the Slaughter Line. That was a good one. I like the story being told in that one too. So there's some good, like lyrically, if this was just written down as lyrics, that'd be pretty fucking good. So there we go. All right. So going back through our little comments here for a second. Benjamin jumped into the random question. Have you guys been watching Max in quarantine? Max Tracks. He's hard case. No, can't say I have. I don't watch a lot of anything, to be honest. I'm a little bit busy for that. It takes me.
Not sure.
Yeah, don't know about that one. I haven't watched much of anything at all. To be like I said, I don't sit down and watch a lot. I'm usually flat out. So usually when I put something on, it's like I'm going to sleep. And I'll get through maybe half an hour before I'm lights out, and it takes me a week to watch a movie. That's basically how
at the moment I'm rewatching Frasier.
Why am I not surprised by that? That is right. Okay, cool. It would be that or Seinfeld, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, so I watch Seinfeld a lot, but yeah. I think South Park's next. I think.
Okay, cool. All right, nice. Back onto the music. Crimson said, digging this. Max is back. Refuse, resist was everything, and this is that vibe. So there we go. Got some comments there for you that's agreeing with you. Tim, you're the flavour of the night because Helen's going, I'd love to see this band live, liking the bass range, which is cool. Nude said, was hoping you guys would review this. Will be my top 10 for the year. Great album, Be Killer Live. So we're getting a lot of love for this one here. And we've got some comments. Just found out that former Megadeth bassist James Lomenzo is back with the band as bassist. Yep, that was going to be always on the cards.
Oh, look, that's it. It's one of those choices where you look back on it and go, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it does slot right in. And yeah.
And Dean also didn't mind the new album of Go Ahead and Die. So there we go. It's even getting the rock heads out there as well. So
this is one of those albums that you would put on back in the day to piss your parents off.
It is, definitely, especially with what I was saying before about lyrical content. What's being said in these songs is not a happy listen. And if you've got a teenager screaming these ones in the bedroom, the parents are going to freak out. So,
well, that was me for the next album.
No, the next album is an absolute cracker. And let's get into it because I think we both love this one. We haven't actually discussed this album before, really. But I've got a funny feeling we're both going to really, really enjoy it. So let's see how we go. So have you gone... What have you gone? Have you actually commented? Is that what you were doing before?
Yeah, that's just for the live audience. Don't worry about reading that one out.
All right, I'm not going to read it out, but it's just funny that you've actually sort of sock puppeted the live stream kind of thing. But anyway, in the comments and in the description and in the post, whatever else, check out System of a Down. We did go with Chop Suey because that's the one that everyone knows, because that's the one that that's the one that sort of really cut through for a lot of people for a lot of the time there. But that's the song. If you don't know it, go and check it out. If you don't know it, I don't know what you don't know what you missed out on, to be honest. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's have some fun. So it's System of a Down with Toxicity, 15 tracks, 44 minutes. The second studio album from the Armenian band, released September 2001 via American Recordings and Columbia Records. Produced by Rick Rubin with band members Serge Tankian and Darren Malakian at Cello Studios in California. 3 singles were released, including Chop Suey and Aerials. The album was a huge success, peaking number 1 in the US, number 13 in the UK, number 6 here in Australia, while charting highly across the globe. It's been certified 3 times platinum in the US, 2 times platinum in the UK, which is extremely rare, 5 times platinum here at home, as well as a host of gold, platinum, multi-platinum across the world as well. And all 3 singles from this went to the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100, which is another feat in and of itself. So this one had insane cut through. Tim, how'd you go?
Yeah, they also had the unlucky thing of being number 1 on 9/11.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Look, this is one of those desert island albums. I love this album.
Yeah.
This is one of the greatest albums ever written. Man.
Let's gush. Let's gush.
Look, from a musical point of view, these guys are groundbreaking. There's so many certain rules when you listen to metal, and you get to a certain point where you go, okay, you get to this part of the song, and this is where you do the Metallica thing, and this is where you do the Black Sabbath thing. And these guys just tore up that rule book and said, no, fuck you, we're going to do our own thing. You know? Yep. And there is nothing really more metal than that.
I love the jazz beats in this one, man. Like, that was a
cool
the
in Science, the random swing beat.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. John Dalmain's one of my heroes. Granted, you wouldn't have thought so from this album, but some of his personal opinions seem to be the exact opposite of some of what Serge's opinions are. But as a drummer, he's fucking phenomenal.
He is.
Yeah, you can't replace John Dalmain in System of a Down because they wouldn't sound like System of a Down otherwise.
No.
He's one of the keys to this band. And, you know, Serge and Darren are great. Some people don't like Darren Malakian's vocals. I think they're perfect. I think they're a perfect counterpoint to Serge's vocals.
Yep.
And I get it. You know, some people don't like he's got that harsh, high-pitched voice. But I think, you know, part of being in heavy metal is making harsh sounds that don't quite necessarily sound pleasant all the time. So, you know, that'd be what it is. Lyrically, this is the album that, you know, this is the album that radicalized a generation of metalheads. And I mean, for those of you that complain that we're all us younger metalheads are bleeding heart liberals, then this is the album to blame. Basically.
Pretty true.
You know, there's that great meme of that, you know, kid just chucking a tantrum in the supermarket, staring at the window with the caption being, you know, 12-year-old me on summer holidays listening to System of a Down talk about corrupt prison systems and the, you know, all that jazz. And this is just a fucking fantastic album. I've listened to this. This is still on regular rotation for me. Has been basically since its release. Which, you know, I made fun of people, you know, feeling older when the Black Album came out. This one did make me feel a little bit old, to be perfectly honest with you. This was one of the first hard rock albums I got into.
This is 20 years old this year, this one?
Yeah. So, you know, this is, you know, when you're getting into your first year Disturbed and your first year, you know, and then eventually this stuff comes out, you know, and then, So, excellent album. Everybody should listen to this. If you haven't heard this album, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you got to listen.
How do you pick highlights? Prison Song, Needles.
It's hard. Yeah.
Chop Suey, Fyre, Science, Psycho, because of course it is. Toxicity, Aerials. Especially, man, when you play drums, right? You know how many bands are like, oh yeah, we're gonna audition you. Play Toxicity.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, because they hear drum fills, they're like, okay, if you can do this, then we got a drummer.
Yeah, true. Okay, yeah, I'll pay it.
So many bands have auditioned playing Toxicity.
Okay. Well, you know more about that side of things than I would, but yeah.
Yeah, so, man, it's such a perfect album.
It's a fucking ripper. Whatever you said, times two, this is fucking fantastic. Now, obviously, I'm a bit older than you, and so when this came out, I got it straight away. And it had been hyped because of things like Chop Suey. So it dropped, I went and grabbed it, put it onto cassette because that was what I had at work at the time, was the tape player, not a CD player. So I grabbed the CD player, put it onto a tape, and used to take it in to work daily. And I was making this back at the pizza shop. So Cam, if you're watching, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Because when I used to put this on, I'd be making pizza dough and setting the trays, the bases up and stuff like that, and I'd be going off the fucking walls, bouncing through everything while doing that stuff to this album. I used to sing this thing word to word, scream it in the back of the fucking pizza shop before we opened up. Obviously, had to make sure I got paid still. But this was just fucking, I played this thing to death, and it's still a regular rotation album for me as well. This was so different to anything else when it came out. Just the different tones, rhythms, the vocals, the artistry, the videos alone, all of it was so different. These guys were just cutting the edges on so many ways. And this is what you said about how it radicalized a generation. It really did. This got people thinking again about what music can do and bring to political discourse and things like that as well. And they've done a great job of highlighting their cause in the years since too. Like the stuff they released either early this year or late last year ties into that. It's funny watching, like you said before, the difference of opinions between the two brothers-in-law as well, because they're brother-in-laws, Serge and it's
but
just,
even then,
fun.
I don't think John's a bad guy. I think just his, you know, his interpretation is different.
Yeah, and each to their own. The fact that they can still make things work in so much shape or form and have difference of opinions is actually, you know, a strength to these guys as well. I think that the push and pull these guys have in the songs, performances, the writing is fantastic. The production. Now, Rick Rubin is a bit of a hit and miss guy for me. I think he's produced some fantastic stuff. I think he's put some things through the fucking toilet as well. I think this one, he nailed it. Just the right touch of rawness. They didn't go too hard at doing anything tricky. They did some nice layering.
This is like the perfect down-tuned guitar tone.
It is. It really is. And they didn't
like when they finally hit that riff in Aerials. It's just such a cool, like a beautiful tone. It's just, you know, clear and
for me.
It's clear and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that like I said, I think Rick Rubin, like I said, can be a bit hit and miss, but I really did enjoy this one. For me, what the simplicity of it was so good. They didn't try, because you said before about the down tune. It's the perfect tone for that. The down tuning of guitars. They didn't fucking just thicken the whole thing out. They left plenty of headroom for the other stuff too. Because I did some layering in this, like when there were strings under Aerials, and I'm not talking about the part that everyone knows at the beginning. In the verses and that, there's actually strings running through it, which is really subtly layered in. So they left enough headroom for that sort of stuff to be in there. And because that fills out the bottom end, you didn't want to go too hard at the other stuff because that would make the whole thing clip to the shithouse. So this was really well done. And because you got the vocals coming in over the top, it just worked. It was raw, but fleshed out and done really intelligently. And there's a lot more to this as well. When you start listening to it deeply, there's some ear candy in this, which is really, really clever. When I was teaching guitar, I was teaching Aerials for years. That was such a song that just stayed with kids for so long. It was insane. And whilst what was the cool thing about this whole thing for me is that it was intense, but it was fun. It was, you know,
you can dance to it.
Yeah, it was brutal, but it was beautiful. It was humorous, but really dark. It was just fucking insane. I don't know. I just love everything about this one. I think the harmonies are great on this. I know some people criticize some of the vocal parts, but I really do enjoy the way they play off of each other. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, you criticize the vocal parts, but you're wrong.
Exactly. I would agree with your statement there. And I think the composition, along with the use of space, the way they wrote things, the way they changed things up mid-song, and the way that impacted the album flow. This thing flies by as a listen. This is not long at all, and it's so easy to repeat spin just over and over again. This is a beautifully crafted album from top to bottom. And for me, I mentioned the jazz cuts, the jazz touch and that before, but also the deep cuts for me. Everyone loves the singles and the songs everyone knows, but the ones you know they're never gonna release as a single, those are the ones for me that were really they have just stayed with me the whole time. Like I said, every song on this thing, you sit there and go lyric for lyric on this one after so many years. If you've never checked this out, fuck, you're missing out on one hell of a record.
So
there's a reason
the perfect
why it's so strong today.
It is kind of like the Marvel movie thing where you have the scene after the credits. Because the outro to Psycho feels like the credits.
Yeah.
And then you've got, Aerials just comes in.
Yeah. And then you got Arto at the very end, which is probably a really...
At the very end, yeah. It's just so well crafted. And I mean, like, songs like Shimmy and Forest and Bounce and even Needles. Needles is one of probably my favorite track. It was certainly a great chorus.
Yeah.
But again, for me, like after Prison Song, you have a song like Needles, which is sort of much more your because Prison Song is so staccato, and then Needles flows so much more. It's just it makes it such ear candy when it has no right to be ear candy.
Yeah, exactly. I think what's underestimated too is the more spiritual side of this band, with things like Science and Forest and that as well, and how they, they hone in on things like nature and stuff as well. There's a few things there that are really cool, that are a bit deeper, thought-provoking, and not so much the political way, but they do tie in. But there's more to this band than that as well. So there's a lot to take in one 45-minute record.
Because you got to remember as well, at this point in time, heavy metal was, chocolate starfish and hot dog flavored water.
Yeah, that's why when this came out, it was such a fucking game changer. This was fucking massive.
Yeah,
I reckon 20 years from now, or even 10 years from now, this is going to be looked back on and go, fuck, this is, if it's not already...
That's it. We're not going to, 20 years from now, no one's going to give a fuck about Limp Bizkit and Korn. We're still going to listen to this.
Yeah, exactly. I would completely agree with that one. So yeah, for me, same as you, 10 out of 10. Listen to this album. If you haven't checked it out, you've got to hear this one. It's hard to pick standouts, but I did pick 3 just because I normally do. Needles, Bounce. I love Bounce. Fucking pogos and metal.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Cool.
Again, one of those that'll never be a single. But,
but it's cool.
Like, there were dudes, I remember dudes in high school, people in high school who didn't like metal, but who knew that bounce, pogo, 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 pogo,
pogo. And such a silly story.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so cool. And the delivery, the delivery of these lyrics from Serge in particular is just fucking bang on. Just
he tells the story like he delivers his lyrics like he's an actor reading lines, but like he's on stage. He's like a stage actor, so he's got to be like over dramatic in his delivery. It's fucking fantastic.
Now too,
that wouldn't surprise me. A little bit. Yeah. Again, way off, but like Jack Black like.
Yeah, actually, I reckon those two together would be fucking cool.
Well, that's one of the strengths of Jack Black is when you listen to a Tenacious D album, is how he uses his voice.
Yeah, yep. It'd be, that'd be
and
cool.
Serge is very similar in that regard.
Very much so. Anyway, to put a bow on it, 10 out of 10. Needles, Bounce, and Psycho was my final stand on this one as well. Psycho is fucking great. But yeah, every song on this one, though, is absolutely fucking stunning. Listen to this album, 10 out of 10. Got to be a 10 out of 10. All right, we did get some comments on here, which is awesome. Everyone, thank you for jumping in on this one. Insignificant Forms, awesome raw sound on this album, gold. So yes, everyone's enjoying it. Crimson said Toxicity, bloody brilliant, intelligence, diversity, just awesomeness. Helen's gone, this is not new, and again, the goods bring it. Benjamin's gone, Toxicity LP is a favorite among them for me. He also said, kind of like Korn, just one amazing LP after another. We got spoiled rotten, definitely. Yeah. Crimson followed up with Suey, Toxicity, Forest, and Aerials are all in my vocal warm-ups lineup. Awesome. Very cool. Bloody amazing vocal ranges for good vocal workout. They would really test your vocals, those ones there. What else have we got on here? Okay. Sorry. We got some people commenting, Colin and Benjamin and stuff, talking about someone froze out there. Apparently we were okay, but yeah, anyway. Benjamin jumped in when you said no one will be talking about Limp Bizkit, and he's gone roll. Sally's gone, he's dramatic, can listen to Serge, can't watch. Same with Maria Brink in this moment, too much. Okay.
I can watch Maria Brink all day long.
Oh, shit. Just putting it out there. All right. Going back to some different stuff here, because I do have one thing I want to address in a second, just as a quick little question here. But Helen also said, by the way, today is Cheap Trick drummers Dax Nielsen, summer founder Rick's birthday. I'll send out salutations from Melbourne and, of course, me. So happy birthday out there from us here as well. Hope you're having a great day and you're in better circumstances, not a lockdown, and you're having a great time out there as well. And there was something else here as well. Helen said also, so weird, I go from Howard Devoto magazine, who I've seen here in Melbourne, share the bill with Skyhooks through to Lizzie, some great stuff. So I'm not sure if that was a reply to someone else or what's going on there, but there's a whole lot of conversations going on while the dog decides to kick himself in the head, which involves kicking the tripod while he's at it. So There we go. So the question that's been put to us as a random one here, and in the comments, give us your thoughts on this one, because this is a bit of a tough one, I reckon. System of a Down or Rage Against the Machine?
System of a Down.
That's tough.
I'd say System of a Down. But like I really, I think System of a Down are better, but I think Tom Morello is like, I feel bad. Like I feel bad saying that.
I know what you mean. I would think because the technicality.
I think System of a Down have better albums. I think Rage Against the Machine have some great songs, but I think part of the reason I like them is because because of Tom Morello's back catalogue.
Maybe we should do a battle
special. I like the Prophets of Rage album.
Maybe a battle special.
I like the acoustic thing that he did as well.
Yeah. I think we could.
And I think Rage Against the Machine are probably like one of the greatest live bands I've ever seen. But from an album point of view, I'd say System of a Down.
Okay. All right. So there we go. We got some comments here saying Rage, and same with Sumaleth as well. So Sally and Sumaleth are both on the Rage Against the Machine.
There's no wrong answer there, to be honest with you.
There isn't a wrong answer on this one. So I don't know if you heard me before. I was saying we should probably do a battle special between these two. The lineups would be about the same content out there to do it one. That'd be an interesting special to do, wouldn't it? Maybe we can look into that one. That'd be a lot of fun. Benjamin's jumped in. No bomb track. No fuck. You want to do what you tell me? Hard question. Yeah, it's not an easy question to answer that one because they're both really good. But at the same time, if I'm thinking initially, probably leaning towards System of a Down myself as well, just because the musicality is a bit different. And that because of, I know both bands were different intents and they brought something special, but just the technical diversity in System brings me a bit more joy when I think about it, just off the top of my head. But that said, if we go through a battle episode and score these things out, it might be a completely different story when it comes down to listening to it from track by track.
Well, possibly, because, I mean, if you think about, like, whatever Toxicity goes up against is probably going to win.
Yeah.
But then when you've got, Steal This Album and Mesmerize and the solo, Rage is probably going to score some points. So
yeah, and there's everyone knows the big one, but I think that as a consistent effort, maybe Rage Against the Machine's albums overall might be a bit consistently stronger. I don't know. It'd be interesting. To
well, yeah, because I think Hypnotize and Mesmerize are kind of like load and reload for mine. It should have been one album.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I mean, like, Steal This Album is one of those things that gets overlooked.
It does. But I think at the same time, so does maybe Battle for Los Angeles from Rage Against the Machine. So,
yeah.
Having
said that, live band, no question. Rage Against the Machine.
Okay, cool. Well, I've not seen either live. So there we go.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Benjamin said that's why I asked. It's a long question. There's a long conversation to be had in that one as well. There's a lot to take in there.
No, it's not that
but
System
I think we'll
aren't
wrap it
great
up
live.
there. Well, hopefully everyone's enjoyed. Sorry?
It's not that System of a Down aren't great live. It's just Rage Against the Machine are better than everybody else.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like live, enough. They've got an energy that can't be compared to anyone.
Cool. We got a different comment here. Crimson said, System, every song brilliant. Rage Against the Machine is bloody hard of hitting, and I'm old and cranky, so it hit the sweet spot as well. So there we go. Yeah. There is something here for everyone on these ones as well. It is one of those ones where probably please a lot of people, probably please more people than you think by going through all their albums as well. So it might be one to investigate for next year, I reckon. All right. But I think we'll start to wrap things up. We've been here for a little while, and everyone's still enjoying it, so it's better to go out on a high than it is to drag it on too long. So we'll get moving, and thank you everyone for jumping into the comments. Make sure you keep them coming. after we're done, if you're tuning in later on and not with us live tonight, then thank you for tuning in and checking out this broadcast whenever you do so. And make sure you give us your thoughts, feedback, comments, all sorts of stuff is there. We enjoy checking it all out later on too. A big thank you to our fantastic sponsors in Squiddy and Screen Printing, Old Colt and Rockstar Finance. Thank you so much for your support. Find them, give them a follow. Their details, just like ours, are in the post and the description or wherever it is you're tuning into this one. Benjamin, we're getting to the bin in a second. So it always comes at the very end of the episode. But yes, please do check out our sponsors and give us a follow, like, share, subscribe, all the usual things to us and to our fantastic sponsors in Squiddy, Screen Printing, Old Colt, and Rockstar Finance. Everything you need to know is in the post, description, whatever. All links you need are there. So please do it. Check us out on television, and which is also available now via the CTV Plus website as well. So 10:30 p.m. Thursday nights on Channel 44 in Adelaide, 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne. Our next special is going to be celebrating the last decade of rock and metal. So stick around on our socials tomorrow for a bit of a poll. We're going to be going into that one. And that's pretty much bringing us to the conclusion of proceedings. We'll have another stream on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. We're going to talk about the latest albums from Sepultura, Blacktop Mojo, and the Ugly Kings. That's what's coming up on Sunday. So not sure who will be here yet, but we'll hopefully get a couple of us in, and we'll have a bit of a chat once again. So join us on Sunday for that. Where else are we going here? Quickly, Helen said just there, some good reviews. Thank you. No, you're most welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around.
Thank you everyone for sticking around. We've actually had a lot of interaction tonight, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you all for tuning in. But now it's on to the fun part that people are trying to tease and build up. Onto the bin for tonight. So what have you got for the bin today, Tim?
So I got my jab yesterday, first jab.
Yep. Oh, cool. You got it. Nice.
The old Toys R Us in Frankston.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's where they're doing it, which is cool. It's a nice big building. Everything's very well organized, everything. But
yeah,
I was promised lollipops.
I didn't get mine either, man. I think
I did not get lollipops. The lack of lollipops in the bin.
Yeah.
Now, I don't care if you have to take money away from level crossing removals. When you promise lollipops, you should deliver lollipops.
Yeah, I'll pay that. I will pay that for sure. I didn't get mine. I don't think Jody got hers either, actually. So, yeah.
See, what the fuck is this?
I don't know. Now I'm a bit annoyed. Yeah, okay. I'm going to try and ask for one at my second jab in a few weeks. We'll see what happens with that one. But my bin is just as petty. And that is when you cut a nail on your hand, like a fingernail too short, and it takes days for it to fucking stop annoying you.
Yep.
That feeling can go in the fucking bin. I really don't like it. It annoys the absolute bejesus out of me, especially when it's your thumb, because you use your thumb for everything, especially on your left hand, you're left-handed. On your dominant hand, you put it, it's like, fuck off. Like, that's just so annoying. And it just takes days for it to come back, which is just fuck. So I've got to get through, and because I work with my hands at the day job, it's very hand-intense work. It's like all the time you're just fucking pushing on it. It's like, annoying as bullshit. So petty, stupid, I don't care. Next time I won't do it, but for now it's going in the bin because it's annoyed me all fucking week. So that's with that one there. Okay, got some things here. Benjamin said, forest fires in the bin, please. Yeah, there's a few of those going around at the world at the moment, so everyone stays safe. They can all go in the bin. Sally's with you. No green, though. She doesn't want green lollipops, so I think green lollipops...
Yeah, I'm okay with green. I'm happy to take the green.
Yeah, I'll take them as well. Okay, so Benjamin's also got a big ingrown toenail. The bin. Fuck, yes, so there we go. Yeah, that would hurt, man. Good luck. And Tim's gone. We're getting my jab tomorrow. If I don't get a lollipop, hopefully I at least get a Simpsons Band-Aid. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Good luck with that one as well. But I think that's where we'll wrap it up tonight. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. It's been fantastic. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Until next time, I'm Andrew.
Tim.
As always,
drink up.
Rock on.